Paul, we're going to fit a folding sliding patio door. Where do we start? What are the first things we need to look for?
We need to check that there's a lintel there in place. These doors are basically, all the weight of them is run by the head, so it's really important.
So you've got to make sure you've got a structural beam in place.
Yeah.
Lintel, mentioned steel, a lintel,
yeah,
to make sure that the doors will be all right for the weight.
Yeah, so it takes the weight of the doors.
And okay, and if we haven't got one of them, forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know we've got one on this job. Do we then measure the aperture that we've got?
We go basically measure it 3 points vertically and horizontally, basically.
Right. And that's brick to brick, I remember.
Yes, it is.
And that's again to get an accurate measurement for when we order the doors.
Yeah, to work out what size doors you want to order, you know.
And when you come to that, when you talk about it's also about the configuration, isn't it? Whether you want the doors to hang
3 left, 3 right. If you've got a big enough opening for a 4-door, 5-door.
It's really just ordering what you want, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And which way you want it to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the doors. They've arrived. I noticed that you kind of checked off the parts. Is that quite important?
Yeah, just make sure that nothing's damaged. You've got all the parts. You know, you check it off. You've got your checklist. Make sure. You know, you don't want to be ripping anything out if you've not got all the parts.
Obviously, you don't want to left with a big hole without the right parts to put back in the space.
Exactly, yeah.
Can we get the old one out now? Get rid of that?
Yeah. As long as you've made sure you've double checked everything, you've made sure that you've got everything the right size. Start taking everything out.
And I suppose probably one of the main things is make sure you wear protective gear as well.
Make sure you've got all the right kit. To do the job.
It's quite a potentially dangerous thing when you're pulling the door out.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so we've got the door out, the old door. Where do we start with the actual structure of the door? We'll just on the doors, or is it?
So unwrap all the frame pack and there's a sill pack and everything else. To assemble the aluminium part of the sill to the timber part of the sill.
Is that the first thing we need to be doing then?
Yeah, just basically starting to put the frame together, yeah.
Right, okay, and then I saw that you were doing the sealant, weren't you? You were putting a sealant between the sill, the
That's
aluminium.
That's just to stick it together and just to seal it in case any water gets in or anything like that.
Okay, with the sill now done, where do we move on to next?
We can put the foam pads down which go in between the jamb and the sill and the head and the sill.
And what are they for, Paul?
They're just obviously as a sealant again, just to give a nice compression when you screw them together.
So it's a tight fit onto the frame.
Yeah.
Okay. So where's our kind of next process? I tell you what I picked up on. You put was it a track in the top?
Yeah, you fit the aluminium track inside of the head.
Right.
Obviously making sure that the vents are in the right place.
That's important, isn't it? Because if you get it the wrong way around,
you've got no vents.
No vents. So make sure that you got
the holes are in the right place, and they will locate where the vents actually are on the timber.
That's a good thing, a good tip to look out for. So is then now a case of putting the whole of the frame together?
Yeah. Make sure that you lay it all out to your head and your sill ready with your jambs. The sill part of the jamb has got a tenon on it.
Right.
So basically, so it locates into the actual sill.
So it's fairly obvious where that's going to go.
You'd know if you were going wrong.
Right.
So if you tried to put it upside down.
Now we've got our frame together.
Screwed together, yeah.
We've screwed it together. Is it a case of a 2-man lift in and offer it up to the hole?
Well, we need to just turn it over first.
Right.
And put the ties on, straps, ties, whatever you want to call it, onto the sill.
Yes.
Which is just, again, a fixing point down onto the ground.
We can bring it
now
into
we
place.
can offer
Fantastic.
it up into the brickwork.
Right, okay, so it's in place, we've got a nice fit. I'm assuming we need just to check the levels all the way around.
You know, same again, check it, check with the level, corner to corner it with your tape. It's really important that these are in square.
Yep. So now we want to secure that.
Once you've
Where
got
do we
it
start
plumb,
on the security?
Secure the jambs first into place. Obviously making sure that it's packed up to the head.
Yep.
Secure the jambs and then start drilling for your lintel.
So we fixed the frame, secure into place now.
Yeah.
What's the next things we need to look at?
We need to make sure that we get all the pivot carriers into place, all the hinges that hold the other door into the correct place. Yeah. Fix the pivot points into position.
Okay, sure. So now we've got the pivot hinges secured.
Yeah.
Can we then focus on bringing the door into that position?
The pivot door, yeah. Yeah. We'd lay the doors down, obviously fit the chute bolts to the door, mark out for the pivot hinges, then we'd fit the pivot door.
Right, okay.
Obviously, then we'd move on to the second door, door B.
Right.
Lay that down, and then we'd use the second lot of hinges that we've got from earlier on that we fitted with the wheels. We'd fit that to the second door, then we'd hang that to the first door. Then we'll move on to obviously the third door, which is the lock door. Once you've got all doors fitted, you'd move on to doing your mechanism. Yeah, put that into place, just loose fit it for now, and then I always just use the handle to mark it, and it works out obviously 35 away from the door, just mark it, cut out for the barrel, and then obviously once you've done that, make sure you prime what you've took out in timber, just a bit of paint on it, just to engrain it, just to get something on it to stop it from rotting. Then you can put the 3-point locking system back in, you know, with all the fixings. Fit your barrel in, then your handle.
And then the job's done. And we just, I think probably the only thing we've got to do then is fit the vent.
Yeah, you fit the vents to the inside just to cover obviously the holes on the inside of the frame. Yeah, and then you just adjust it ready, and then that'd be about it.
Job done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.